Okay, good evening. Welcome to Angels Camp City Council meeting. It's July 7th, and I'd like to please do a roll call.
Councilmember Scott Beecham.
Here.
Vice Mayor Michael Shemente.
Present.
Mayor Caroline Sherrod.
Here.
Councilmember Kara Scott.
Here.
Councilmember Alvin Brolin.
Here.
Thank you. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So we're reporting out of closed session. Direction's been given to staff. And next up, we have two presentations tonight. And so I'd like to welcome up Tofael Anwar with Caltrans on the Highway 49 project update. Thank you. If you want to, do you want to come up or? Right. Okay. And then the microphone you just turn on. There you go.
Hello. You guys see me?
Yeah.
So I'll be presenting in July update for our project 1X700 Angels and Complete Streets project. This project is located at Route 49. Post-model construction start limit is 7.4 miles, 7.4 and ending at 9.5. So about 2-mile construction. It start from the main in Angels Camp on Main Street, north of Bernard Hill to Pine Street. Next slide, please. So this project was awarded to George Reed for $7 million. Contract was approved in summer of 2025. Construction began in August of 2025. This project has about 985 working days, which include 2 years of plantation period as well.
That's 2 years.
Next slide. Okay, the scope of work is to construct new sidewalks and curb ramps with landscape buffer. We are going to upgrade the existing crosswalks, replace the road signs, stripe bike lanes, and we're going to include some complete street elements such as EVA curb ramps. We're going to install street lighting and obviously install planting and irrigation. So this is the scope of work, construction progress. So I guess you guys are pretty much familiar with this project, how we started. So we started potholing last August in 2025, and excavation happened in September. Last year in excavation, we found a lot of utility conflicts, sewer lines, as well as AT&T, Comcast, PG&E. Due to this late discovery of conflicts, we had to basically button up the project limit again. So we did winterization paving last year, and this year we did additional potholing and we came back. And we are currently working on from west to east on the south side of the State Route 49. And we received our revised drainage plans as well as new modified landscape areas. Currently, as we speak, drainage systems are being installed, and we have made fairly good amount of progress. And we are currently installing after installing the drainage system, then we install the irrigation pipes, and then after that we install the sidewalks and driveways. You guys have seen the new sidewalks going up in the city, so we're definitely making progress. Next slide, please. So just to give you guys an idea, we always talk about utility conflict. What is a utility conflict? Up in the picture, you guys can see there is a sewer utility line, and the drainage system is right close to it. So when we are digging up the road, underneath the road, a lot of pipes as well as a lot of lines that goes underneath. And if anything is in conflict with that drainage box, that messes up with the slope, and it's a concomitant effect. So that's what we talk about the utility conflict. Just want to give you guys an example. And next slide, please. And this for the next couple of slides, we're gonna talk about the progress that we have made so far. So in this is our drainage progress for stage 1, which is on the south side. We have, the first picture you guys can see, we have installed a drainage box as well as a drainage pipe. And the second picture, construction is laying down a new drainage pipe. And the last one is, again, the drainage work that goes, the first thing before we put down a new sidewalk. Next slide, please. And after the drainage work, we install new sidewalks as well as curb ramps. These few pictures show you on the first one on the left, you guys can see the new sidewalk being poured. And that's a finished sidewalk. And on the bottom, on the left, on the right-hand side, you guys can see a new ADA curb ramp. And the bottom is the finished product. And whatsoever is left on the side, that dirt, that's where the plantation area goes. So we're gonna run all the irrigation pipes, and after we complete all the sidewalks, we're gonna come back and have the trees planted in that area. So it's not that we're not leaving it just as a dirt. We definitely have a plan. We're gonna come back and fill it up.
What type of plants are you gonna use there?
I think it
Low
was
maintenance, high maintenance, high water, lower?
I will definitely go for the low maintenance, but I think that it was in the original last presentation that I presented. I don't have them off the top of my head which plants were those. There were some trees and shrubs. I believe there was the Chinese pistache tree, but don't quote me on that. I think it was in the last presentation that I presented. I don't have that information in front of me right now.
Are you also gonna plant the planters on the other side of the highway that were
Yes.
put in with the last?
So yeah, so this is just the south side we're
Right.
talking about.
Right.
But stage 2 is the north side. That's when we're gonna come back and we're gonna install the landscape on the other side as well.
Are you gonna do phase 2 right after you finish phase 1? After you finish stage 1 and you finish,
Yeah, when we
you're gonna
finish,
go back?
we're gonna work on the stage 2 after the stage 1.
Okay, okay.
All right, next slide, please.
Right after.
All right.
And this one shows you the driveways. And I'm pretty sure a lot of folks out there have seen that this is the major, and sometimes we have to make adjustments. So this is I just want you guys to look at. After the sidewalk, there comes the driveways.
But, you know, I think, you know, looking at it and watching, you've done everything you can to help maintain the business being open when that concrete cures. And in some of those driveways, you've actually metal plated over the concrete and let it dry so people had access. So, you know, it is a construction project. And how long do you let the concrete cure? Does it have to be 2 weeks before you can drive on it, or?
It depends on if it's a rapid set,
Okay.
then it's a lot less cure time.
Okay,
So what we do, I'm a construction engineer, so so the project manager. So what we do in case by case, we use a rapid setting and regular concrete.
okay,
The full strength concrete incurred in 28 days PSI, that's what we
Right.
need.
Right.
But mostly 3 days or 7 days, they get the 75% your value of compressing.
okay,
When you use the rapid setting, early setting, you get 2/3 earlier time. So what we did here, in order to convenient to the commercial or business owner, we intentionally placed this plate, which would have less impact to the concrete down, and that has a rapid set concrete.
okay, okay.
Does that make sense?
It does, it does.
Appreciate it, man. Appreciate it, thanks to Bob. Next slide, please. And this slide shows the bus shelter area that we installed in front of the school. So again, yeah, this project has had issues, but we want to emphasize that we are listening, Caltrans is listening to the public, and for the public convenience, this was installed. Even though it was later in the stage 1 phase, we made an exception and we definitely installed this one. in the
So
beginning.
I want to emphasize that because of these, we changed the constructability plan. Normally what we go down to upward, because your downside is the part, and then it goes to contour up. But contractor has to do, this is extra work and top priority, we started from west to east instead of east to west. So that's why we changed the construction schedule based on the need of the local community.
Yeah, that's why when the starting point on the first slide was on the
Right.
east side. But yeah, want to emphasize on that point that we are listening to you guys.
Well, I think you demonstrated that by not putting the highway back the way it was last year. You know, we have every one of our stoplights working, you know, I
The
mean.
driveways, the entryways are
and,
getting wider.
So I do think that you guys did listen.
Yeah.
It was, you were protecting your workers and the construction part of the project, but you're also allowing the flow of traffic to continue, so.
Thank you. Next slide, please. This one this slide talks about the construction look ahead. So currently, we will continue working from west to east, and currently we're on the south side. And as explained by previous slides, the drainage system will be constructed at first, and we are more than halfway in the drainage system. So that gives me a little bit of hope
Oh, yeah.
that we are on the right track. And it will be followed by irrigation system, irrigation pipes. And after that, sidewalks, driveways, and at the end is going to be the landscape area. And while we are doing that, we are going to do stage 2 potholing, and to look at what kind of utility conflicts can we encounter, or are we going to encounter for stage 2? So we are working on that to give you guys a better construction for stage 2. And lastly, we will work on street lighting and landscape areas. That would be the end of the project.
I saw the new stoplight come up too.
Yeah, the new
on
stoplight.
Yes, so
53.
we were trying to expedite it. So, you know, after you construct erect the new stoplights or the traffic lights, whatsoever, then you have to get electrical connection. That's where we gotta run the new conduits, run the wiring, and connect it. So we're definitely looking to expedite instead of installing at the end, trying to help you guys.
Is that gonna have a turn signal? I noticed the light the other day, and I'm like, I wonder if they finally put a turn signal in there.
So we are moving ahead a little bit early schedule. We directly contacted to move forward. So we installed the signal. You see the
Yeah,
sun now with
I
the
saw it.
forward. That means on the southeast side at Demarest, both sides we didn't turn it on. We decided for the best benefit of the community, we're gonna keep the signal system as is. Even though contractor is working, we're not gonna have flashing beacon or nothing. We're gonna keep continuing as is service. So I have a meeting tomorrow with that, how we're gonna do that transition period. But it's gonna be very short period. Because we have already stand by those things, just we need to connect to the cabinet to that. And thus, he just explained that street lighting or whatever, right?
So I just didn't know if the new one was gonna have a turn signal, because it seems like a lot of people
Right,
have issues
right,
with that.
right.
Like,
So when you pour the sidewalk, are you gonna, I have two questions. Is there gonna be a certain amount of retaining wall? Or is it just gonna be a raised curb and then you guys are gonna put the pipe fence along that? How is that gonna be finished in front of the park?
Out of the plans.
In front of the park, I have to look at the design, I apologize.
No, it's okay.
So normally, what we're gonna do, I'm not sure about retaining wall. We have a beginning tomorrow or next week, we're gonna start backfilling on the embankment, on the park area.
Oh, okay.
Which is longest, so we'll find out more about it.
Okay,
But that's gonna be compacted all this fall.
okay.
And then once we do that, normally what we do, we have a back shoulder, right? Back side of the sidewalk shoulder, at least 4 feet. We have a certain amount to make sure safety first, and then you're gonna slope 2 to 1, whatever it is, right?
Okay.
Retaining wall, normally we do when you have a less than 2 feet or 1 feet or something. Then you put our retaining wall with the guardrail or retaining wall, soldier pile, whatever, you make a decision. I'm not sure we have that situation because we have enough room. So you're gonna backfill compacted, and this is a little slip. There's not a big slip down, you know what I mean? 15 feet or 20 feet, whatever. It's not a 50 feet, right? So I think most likely what we're gonna do, we're gonna plating at the bottom and compact it, the layer by layer. We're gonna fill all the way top to the hinge point. And that's gonna be happening when we have enough room on the back side of the sidewalk. So make sure that, and backside will be sloped, right? It's not gonna be right off that, so it's all designed, so.
Okay.
Just shoot me if any question, I'm more than happy to answer this question.
Nope, Sean.
Oh, it's the question and answer time.
Oh, question and answer time. Yeah, sorry.
No, I did want to say thank you. I mean, I've been working with you on some property line issues that we ran into, and so are we able to kind of come back and fix those issues once you've gotten those plans remedied, and they're going to just come back and do those? Is that what's happening?
Right,
Okay.
so as we said in the earlier, the driveway width will be the same per plan, 24 feet. And landscape on my pizza through the liquor, the next, there will be no landscaping. We're
Right.
gonna have a stamped concrete to not to have any more water.
Okay.
And currently we are working,
He's talking about in
if
front of
there
you.
is any water come from the street sheet flow, how to mitigate that water so that should not go the downside, because we found something and we are currently working to resolve this issue, so there will be no water issue and ponding. I think it's gonna be improved better what we had before.
Okay.
You will see that soon.
Perfect. And so it shouldn't put any major delays on the project, correct? Did we?
So I think that construction, when you work on critical path and something come up in critical conflict, yes, of course there is a delay, and there's no doubt it, because your impact on the process of the scheduling, right? Anything extra work is a delay. But that's why we are trying to expedite, like Hakikat mentioned, our business model is collaborative and partnering with the contractor, working with the subcontractor, including get going. And next week you say we'll have day shift, even night shift. We're gonna be working 2 shifts to expedite the
Oh,
work.
wow.
Okay.
Night shift will be drainage work, day shift will be side work.
Wow.
So we are trying to expedite as much as possible with that accord, that public inconvenience are our first priority and safety is first priority.
Wow.
So we want to mitigate and how much we can mitigate, that's what we're trying to do.
And so with the major part of the construction, where you're still proposing that you're gonna be done by like November, is that right?
I'm sorry?
November on like the construction, not the planting and lighting, I think the major construction would be done.
Right, so what we are doing now, as I mentioned, the drainage things we're gonna resolve. It's gonna be probably next week or week after next that problem will be solved. You will see no hole there. It's gonna be stamped concrete.
Okay,
Right now, we are working some design, and
So
once it's approved,
currently, no, I don't want to say that we'll be done by November and we'll be out of here, but
Yeah.
at least for the south end, we're trying to resolve all the issues and trying to get that thing buttoned up for the winter, so
okay.
we don't have the last years.
Okay.
So that's our first.
That's why you might double up on the.
Right,
Okay,
correct.
gotcha.
And as far as the delays, there are a lot of ways to work around the delay. If there is a delay on this end of the project, our contractor can move
Yeah.
further and we can line up these two activities or critical path, we meet the project in. But yeah, there is no definite answer, but we are trying to at least finish up the south end by the end of this.
Yeah, I appreciate you working with the property owners on
Yeah.
that, so thank you.
So I guess my question, I got a couple of them, but playing in, because you guys just brought it up about the safety and the timeline and trying to keep up with it and stuff like that. There is a contractor that's working on the project and may have to open up a deep section coming up just past the O'Reillys right there. And maybe like a night closure is kind of what I'm understanding. But is there any way to maybe do a full closure of the highway for a few days to help mitigate with some time and expenses and for safety wise of maybe something happens and they can't get the lanes reopened by morning or something like that? Is there a possibility of maybe looking at doing a full closure and letting people go up around the bypass and coming down this way? For safety or anything to that nature, is there, you just said there were options to put on the table and stuff, so I'm just seeing if that could be an option to speed up the process for public safety or whatever. I know that would impact those couple homes right there too, but I don't know if that was an option to talk with the contractors and see if you could do that or Caltrans as well.
So, contractor provide their schedule, and if they're constrained anything, we have always weekly meeting, we discuss about it and how to mitigate. I would say in lieu of your comments, Today I had a meeting, normally it's the Tuesday construction meeting with the contractor, all subs and myself. Because of the drainage system, as we say, they're working night shift, right, all these things. All these things came up, like when you see the Chevron or whatever right now, the gas station, it's a change to different name
Sinclair.
right now.
Right, Sinclair now, yeah.
Yeah, some name, I forgot the name. Going to the downwards the port, we have a longitudinal drainage pipe to be installed through the DI, all these things manhole. In order to expedite, we partnering with a contractor, change the method of construction to put a, what do you call, a chain cutter. That means they're gonna bring with the teeth and grind, and they're
Grind
gonna
out,
make
yeah.
18 to drive, not like a saw cut with the jackhammer and then cut. That's a long process and it will take forever, for 2-3 weeks. So we are mitigating that. The question came up in that meeting at the contingency plan. While we are at from geotech report, we can see some boulder, big rock, and we found that, unfortunately. Because of the nature of the ground of the area, we have all these mountains.
Yes.
So the question came, and I'm gonna put on you, what is your thought? That is, if a big boulder came up, and that chain cannot cut, right? It has to be 4M. With excavators, 10,000 pound or 5,000 pound, 8,000, 12, depends what size of rock, you have to break it in order. So my concern was to the contractor about if you make a noise, boo, 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 boo at night, local residential, we have a sleeping problem because you're gonna wake up them.
Right.
How are we gonna do that, right? I mean, you said that, well, go for it, I think I'll go for it, we'll take that option. But that is contractor, I think I agree with that. So we are thinking, like you mentioned, we have a lot of issue, right? Not only are that issue we just mentioned.
Right.
We are thinking if this is viable for the department, other unit, because we have traffic management, traffic operational,
Right.
highway, all these things to discuss. If that's an option, we can do it in day instead of night. Because if that big rock, we have to break and put the line,
Right.
then it's better noise in day rather than at night.
Well, that contractor might be able to bring in different equipment during, if it was a full closure or something of that nature, you could bring in different equipment to handle with those bigger rock
Well,
issues
you don't
coming
have any,
into.
I have my 20+ years experience. I cut the mountain, naming 900 feet high, a million cubic year. I did my lifetime big jobs. So the way you do blasting, the
Yeah,
way you do hold them, that's the way you can break and cut the mountain and do the road. I built new highways in many other countries.
okay.
So what I'm saying that the approach is very limited when it comes to the big rock natural sitting in the ground on your way. Either you don't know, detour or somewhere find the way past, or you go underneath, or you have to break to do that. So right now we are thinking that because we found some big rock
Right.
during this drainage in excavation, and we mitigate that issue. And this is kind of a lot of effort to contractor to do that because they didn't bring that equipment right away.
Right.
So anyway, long and short answer is, yeah, we are thinking how we can mitigate and reduce these public inconveniences. This is our concern in our mind, but also we have other priorities which can be take first and which can be second and third and fourth priority.
Yeah, as long as options are all open and
Yeah.
I mean, we have this area that we can bypass there.
Right.
And just, yeah, time frame, money, safety, I'm all about that. And just if that means a full closure or something, which you guys will have to do or whatever for 2 days or 3 days.
Just have to call you up and say, shut down.
We're gonna shut it down right now.
I'm glad
So-
that you proposed that local communities happy we shut down the highway.
Exactly, shut her down. I don't know,
I just mentioned earlier. Yeah.
I think it comes, so
I would take his word.
Just his word.
as long as all options are on the table, yeah, that's all. Just checking and seeing what we got. So.
Thank you.
And then my other question is the 2-year plantation. What did that mean in the beginning? What's that 2 year? Is that 2 years to get the landscape up and running, or is that 2 years? Because I know you guys have it for a few years, and then we take responsibility after that. I think.
What, you know, sir?
Yeah, so after we plant that's for trees to grow, and it's after we plant the trees.
It's after, right? Okay.
So you
That's
care
what I
for it for 2 years after they're planted?
Yes.
thought. Yeah. Okay, that's what I thought. I just wanted to make sure. I think it was 2 or 3. Yeah, I remember something.
I heard 2, I heard 3, I heard 5.
I've heard all
So
sorts.
The correct, can I correct that? The correct answer is 785 working days.
From the time you plant the tree?
No,
I'm just kidding.
from the time we accept the job for construction,
Oh.
it goes that way.
Gotcha, okay.
That means sidewalk is completed, lighting is functioning, everything. The
Okay.
contractor goes under plan establishment period, and that goes working days.
Okay.
Okay.
So it could be a little over 2 years, because you take the holidays and the weekends out.
Working.
So if you take the
I know.
weekend.
Any other questions from council? Opening it for public comment. Anyone online?
Don't see anything online.
Well, thank you for
Thank you,
coming.
guys.
Thank you for the update.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks
Have a
for
good
the
night.
progress that you're making.
Thank you, guys.
I'm sorry. I grabbed my flasher.
Okay.
Oh.
Okay. Moving on, we have 4B, a presentation by the Calaveras Visitors Bureau. So I'll invite Martin Hurdy up, Executive Director. Sorry.
Do we have the slides?
Yeah.
Get one thumbs right out of there.
Thank you.
Come on, come on.
We just want to get a copy of that. Yeah.
It's just right there, yeah.
It's right there. It's one more. There it is.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor, Council members, and our city administrator. I think we all know our mission statement. We'll go on to the second slide if we could. In brief, California remains the top travel destination in the nation. Overall, California visitation was down in 2025 compared to 2024. International visitation fell about 9.2% statewide. We definitely felt this in Calaveras. Some areas of the state, such as Los Angeles, some areas fell as far as 50%. Canadian visitation alone declined 18 to 38% depending on the region. The silver lining is despite fewer visitors, overall California still saw tourism spending remaining strong because travelers spent more money per trip. That's Visit California's saying. I believe the prices have gone up, which also contributed to the fact that we actually made more money in 25 than 24. Our TOT total for 2025 was just over what the county anticipated at $2.7 million. In talking to Michelle for the city, the fourth quarter is still coming in, but we look to be strong and coming over what was originally anticipated. The CVB greeted over 13,000 visitors face-to-face in 2025 and fielded thousands of phone calls. We continue to invite travel writers and influencers into the county. We are not doing as many print ads these days. Print ads have gone through the roof. We can spend, for Visit California, it's $45,000 for a single page. In their road magazine, it's $25,000. I mean, granted, they have a circulation of 1 million. We've tried that before, but I just see that ultimately we're really moving towards digital marketing solely. We do still keep our radio presence and, of course, supporting our local events. If we go to the next slide, this shows Visit California. Dean Runyon and Associates do the numbers for each county in California, and this shows the 2025 numbers versus 2024 calendar year, not fiscal year, but calendar year. So it shows you that we all are doing a little bit better. Ultimately, we belong to a organization called the Gold Country Visitors Association, and each DMO, each destination marketing organization is feeling the same thing. I mean, we're all struggling at the moment, as is California. So we could go to the next slide. The money we receive from TOT, from both the city and the county, we divide up. 25% is spent on payroll, 12% is on overhead, and the rest, 63%, is on marketing. The marketing breakdown is obviously social media data tracking, media fan trips, familiarization trips for people coming to write about us, website, software subscriptions, and constant contact, print ads, and radio and film commission. That is going to be a little bit lower this year, I believe. Visitor's guide, the one thing I did want to correct with the staff report, or not correct, but just make sure everybody's aware that our visitor's guide, which looks like this year, We make 50,000 copies, hard copies. We also have a QR code, so a lot of people download it. We distribute from our office here approximately 14,000. The rest are distributed through a company called Certified in Northern California, all the way down to Pismo Beach.
Wow.
So the people who are in here pay for this. They pay for the design, the production, and the distribution. The only part of the TOT that goes to this particular magazine is the time that it takes Jessica and myself to actually create it.
Wow.
It's an amazing marketing tool. Can we go to the next slide? So I wanted to give you some county numbers versus city numbers. This is with a company called Zartico, and they're a data tracking company. They deal, unlike the company that we were with, which was Placer AI, this company just deals with travel. So the key insights for 2025 for Calaveras County was that 45% of all the people that were in this area were our visitors, which was a 9% decrease from previous year, which is pretty much right along with Visit California said. 43% of the spend in our area, in our county, is from visitors, which is a 5% decrease. What was interesting is that our visitation from out-of-state visitors was up 5%, and yet overall we were still 9% down. We go to the next slide. So this is Angels Camp. Again, this is Zartico and Zartico's numbers. The total percent of people that were in Angels Camp, they say was 23% visitors, which is down 10% from the year before. 18% spend. Same time last year, 22%, so we're down 4%. We were up in restaurant average daily. Again, people are spending more money or prices have gone up. Retail average daily 81 and 89 for arts and entertainment. You go to the next slide, please. This was done for the county, and I'm working with Zartico so that I can give you for the city. We aren't there yet. We've only been with them for a couple of months, so we're getting there. But this is just a breakdown of the average daily spend of our visitors here in the county. We can go to the next slide. The next two slides are really important. 23% of the people that come into our county and city are 65 years and older. 69% have an average household income over $100,000. And the one statistic that I find really crazy is that 60% do not have children in the household. The next slide also is incredibly helpful for our marketing dollars. First of all, 84% of the visitors to Calaveras were from in-state in 2025. San Francisco represented 37% of our visitors and 62% of the spend. So we're getting a big bang for our buck in San Francisco and San Jose. Sacramento represented 22% of visitors and 9% of the spend. Fresno represented 9% of visitors and 3% of spend. Again, these are county numbers, but I think it's very reflective of what happens in Angels Camp as well. Next slide, please. And here you can see in 2025, we really fell down in getting those people from San Francisco from the year before. These are the top 5 markets: San Francisco, Sacramento, Fresno, Los Angeles, and Reno. Go to the next slide. But I wanted to look at the positive side, and that is that Angels Camp for the last 6 months has rebounded. 32% of the people in our destination were visitors, which is up 9%. 26% of the spending, which is a 6% raise. Restaurant daily average was a little bit down, but the retail, which is really important because retail's been just down overall for the last 2 years, is up $30, and the arts and entertainment up $199.
Right.
Marty, what do you attribute such a large retail average visitor spend difference to the last 6 months?
I honestly can't tell you. At the museum, we have days where we don't see but 2 people, and other days we'll see 40 people. There seems to be no rhyme or reason to it. People have been very tight in 2025 with their money. I would assume that they're still tight with their money, but these numbers do show that it's going up. The trend is that people are starting to spend a little bit more. The next slide Does that answer your question?
I mean, arts and entertainment really jumped.
Yes.
Yeah, I was
Really?
curious if we don't know why.
Well, I think, some of that could be
How
mapped. Again, we're doing deeper dives into this, but, we had a new museum open.
Okay.
And that's been, we had the Cineplex closed in Sonora.
I was gonna say,
So
this is,
we had
that's under arts and
coming
entertainment,
to
yes.
Angels Camp to watch movies. So there are reasons that we can come up with. And again, going back to those top visitor markets, what I want to show you in the last 6 months is we're getting our San Francisco people back. One of the things that we've done in this next slide is we used to be with a company that is sort of used by all the DMOs as far as their SEO, search engine optimization. And we changed course and we went with the company that does our website, Big Behavior. And one of the things that's really different is when you go with this other company, which predominantly most DMOs do, you buy a package. And once that package is done, for the rest of the year, you don't get anything unless you're anti-everything. With Big Behavior, they run year-round. So ultimately, what he's saying is that our average monthly traffic value would be 32,600, just based on Google alone. We pay 2,083. What he's doing is driving people to our website. So we had 229,922 organic clicks.
Wow.
And when we were with the agency, we had 43,381. The total impressions were just over 12 million. When we were with the other agency, it was just 3,200,000. We gained 170,000 unique arrivals, new users, and our engagement is good. And this search dominance is really important. We give them keywords like frogs, Angels Camp, or like Hop of Fame, whatever. They drive people to those words, and on 190 pages, we are in the #1 space. So, for example, if you hit in big trees, Calaveras comes up. If you hit in, things about Angels Camp, well, it's 190 total. We've given him like 700 altogether names. On the next slide, digital marketing. This is something that Jessica is working really hard on. And by the way, I want to say thank you to my staff here. I didn't expect that. I felt like it was a surprise party. The goal is to build a modern destination marketing organization capable of competing effectively in today's digital tourism landscape. Tourism behavior has fundamentally changed. Travelers no longer discover destinations the same way. Travel planning is now heavily influenced by digital content and social media. Digital visibility now directly impacts destination competitiveness. Visitors move between Google, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, Pinterest, and Maps while planning trips. Over 60% of travelers use social media for travel inspiration. Over 80% of travelers use digital platforms during trip planning. It's hugely important. We've hired an outside consultant who is helping us in leaps and bounds, and we'll see our social media grow exponentially this next year. Next slide. I'll be here, obviously, for the agenda item on the lease, but I thought, what do I say about the museum at this point? First off, what I want to say is thank you to the city and to the foundation, the Angels Camp Museum Foundation, for doing the exhibit downtown, and thank you, Amy, for bringing that to everybody's attention. I think it's been a boon. We got a lot of really great response from it.
Okay.
So thank you. I mean, I think it speaks for itself. Thank you to my staff. We're a great team, and everybody's very passionate about what we do at the museum. And we have great ratings, and people love it. And it's something unique. And probably one of the nicest things that I can say is that we had 1,400 school children through last year.
Wow.
We do not charge. We used to charge, but I don't charge Calaveras kids. So the next slide just shows our partnerships, who we work with. We're looking now to take on the Ebbets Pass National Scenic Byway.
Oh, wow.
Michelle is turning over the administration of that to the CPB, and hopefully by the end of the year, we'll have that locked down. It makes sense. We should be doing both. And then I'll answer any questions.
I had a question about beds. So does Angels Camp have the most beds for tourism, like for hotel beds, or how does that?
You have the best. I mean, honestly, Worldmark is it.
I know, Worldmark
It's
is a
200,
lot.
it's 200,
Yeah.
and that's the reason why it makes so much sense for us to be in downtown Angels Camp.
Okay.
Or I'd say downtown, but in Angels Camp, so that people come to us first. We get a lot of Worldmark business. Our guys, they go through 7,600 of these a year.
Wow.
Wow.
So they come to us, they ask questions, a lot of them go through the museum. And I know I've said this to the council many times, that the marriage of the CBB and the museum has been magic. I think you could ask any of these people here. Susan's a longtime museum employee.
Magic.
It allows people who come into our area to really learn about what you can do in the city and what you can do in the county. And we get them for 2 hours. Before, when we were down where the pickled porch is, you'd get people coming in for 5 minutes, ask a question, there'd be somebody standing behind them so they'd feel nervous and they'd leave. Now you get to actually interact with the.
And I think some of the impact too is that wasn't Worldmark closed for renovation?
They were, Michelle looked it up for me. That wasn't really the impact in this last fiscal year. It was just before.
Right.
You gave me the dates, Michelle. I can't tell you about the
Yeah, it was the third quarter, the January through March of 2020.
And it dropped
Yeah.
like over 50%.
Yes.
Yeah,
So when you're looking at 2025, that might have been part of that impact.
it could be.
Yeah.
It could be.
Any other questions?
I don't know questions, I'm just, because I was part of this when they were separate, and it was right before COVID hit and all that fun stuff, and I think you and your crew did a great job up there, putting it all
Yeah.
together. From where it was 5, 6, 7 years ago, it's pretty amazing. It's cleaned up, I don't know, it's awesome. So nice work,
We've
everybody.
done a lot of work there. We're really, really proud of it.
Yeah, you guys should be.
It is something to be proud of, and it's something that everybody, I mean, we have people, unfortunately, we just lost our best docent. He had to retire. But people would actually, I mean, I'd say best docent in front of Susie, I don't mean it that. But he didn't get paid, and I was like,
I agree, he was great.
people would come up back in their car from down at the base of the museum, they would stop and make a point of walking back into the building to say how much of a great time they had. And I'll say that later maybe when we talk about the contracts, but I grew up in the film business, and the best marketing you can do is word of mouth. If somebody tells you to go see a movie, you're more likely to go see that movie than if you just see an ad in the paper.
Right.
And we spend a lot of money keeping people at the front desk, but I think it pays off, because ultimately it is that experience that people walk away with and want to come back.
I think it really sets the stage for our visitors to not only experience Angels Camp and its history, but the rest of the area. It's a real good starting off
You'd be
point.
amazed at how many people are just blown away by this is our history.
Yeah.
When you walk in there, yeah, okay, we have a stagecoach that came from Placerville, which is on lease because they love where it sits right now. But all the rest of that stuff is local.
It's ours.
And
It's our-
it
yeah.
came from our people.
It's our
And
local
it
legacy.
tells-
Yeah.
And it's a wonderful, afternoon to walk down and you see a whole family, gathered around the cart that used to be out on their ranch, which isn't any longer. So it's important.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mark,
Oh, sorry, sir.
one question, I was confused when you were describing the visitor's guide. I agree with you that the digital marketing is where it's at, so I'm a little skeptical of the visitor's guide. And as soon as you spent 22% of your marketing budget on it, which is more than the overhead and half the payroll.
Well,
You said it pays for itself.
it does, and
So I'm
that
confused.
graph, it should be explained better, and thank you for that, because ultimately, what we find more than anything is people want that. They walk in the door, there are a lot of old school people that come, and they want a map. They're used to looking on their phones, but a lot of them don't have connection up here, so they want something physical. What we also have in here are the walking tours, which are incredibly popular. But again, I'm asking for your help because we start now in July, starting 2027's guide. So we're going to be heading out now, and if you know of businesses that aren't in here or that want to be in here, please let me know. Get them in.
Did you hear a question answered?
Did I?
It's staff time.
It's staff time. We have payroll, which is 25% of the TOT you receive. And then you have the visitor's guide that's paid for by the ads and such.
Yeah, I should have just taken the visitor's guide out of it. I was giving you the overall sum of everything. Okay.
I make a quick comment?
Just
real
can
quick?
answer that?
Yeah, please.
That visitor's guide, anybody that's in that pays for it. It pays for itself.
Okay.
No TOT goes to that. So when you're looking at that graph, it is a little misleading, but that 22% includes money collected from the folks that are paying to be in that guide. So it's like a wash, it's like an in and out,
It's the overall, so that graph shows
overall marketing dollars.
Oh, it's not
Total-
just, it's just not,
Not
that's not the TOT.
Exactly.
Correct.
That's the overall revenue versus.
Thank you,
Yes.
yes.
Gotcha, that makes more
Okay.
sense.
Sorry about
Makes a lot more
that.
sense.
I should have
Thank you.
clarified that. Any other questions?
Not from council. I'll open it up for public comment. Okay, if you could keep your public comments to 5 minutes, please.
Good evening, my name is Christopher Butter, publisher of Calaveras.watchdog.com. Mayor and council members, for the record, you just heard from the executive director that Calaveras County's 2025 direct travel spending was $266 million, up 2.7% from 2024. That number is cited from the Dean Runyon Associates annual report produced for Visit California. I want to walk you through what he did not tell you, because what he omitted is more important than what he reported for the public record. First omission. 2025's direct travel spending of $266 million is a preliminary figure not adjusted for inflation, and Mr. Huberty didn't disclose that this number may either decrease or increase in revised reporting. The figure comes from Dean Runyon Associates annual report for Visit California, which publishes county figures in current dollars only. The U.S. annual inflation rate for 2025 finished at an average of 2.7%, representing a nominal increase in Calaveras County direct travel spending from 2024 to 2025, but represents zero real growth when adjusted for inflation. Zero. Statewide, Dean Runyon's own inflation-adjusted analysis showed direct travel spending after adjusting for inflation grew just 0.8% against the published 1.7% increase in real dollars. The executive director just stood here and represented a flat year to you as growth. Second omission, do the arithmetic his own statistic implies. If $266 million direct travel spending is up 2.7% over 2024, then 2024 was approximately $259 million. The same Dean Runyon report series put Calaveras' total direct travel spending in 2023 at $261 million. So the trajectory is $261 million in 2023, down to 259 in 2024, back up to $266 million in 2025. A dip and partial rebound in direct travel spending he never mentioned, and after adjusting for inflation, 2025 falls below where the county stood 2 years earlier in 2023 real dollar direct travel spending. Up 2.7%, while technically accurate, pre-inflation adjustment is completely misleading. I allege Huberty cherry-picked the one comparison that sounds like success. Third omission. The same report series reveals Calaveras travel-supported employment fell 11.5%, a loss of 350 jobs between 2022 and 2025, from a high of 3,030 jobs in 2022 to 2,680 jobs in 2025. You heard nothing about that tonight either. The city funds the CVB with transient occupancy tax dollars and is entitled to complete material information, not selectively favorable statistics. Do not take his characterization on faith. And here's why you shouldn't. This is a pattern. First, I allege the CVB's annual tourism reporting to the City of Angels Camp and the Calaveras County government has intentionally withheld complete material information to justify and preserve Huberty's two taxpayer-funded compensated and conflicted positions as CVB Executive Director and Calaveras County District 3 Supervisor. Second, the CVB converted from a public benefit to a mutual benefit nonprofit corporation in 2021. Its executive director certified its mutual benefit status on 5 consecutive IRS Form 990 filings, while the CVB's contract with the city continued to describe the organization inaccurately as a nonprofit association. That discrepancy and misrepresentation is only being corrected now in the July 1st, 2026 amended tourism promotion agreement before you today for approval. An organization that failed for numerous years to accurately disclose and represent its own legal form to its government funders is now presenting you performance statistics stripped of inflation context, the prior year dip, and significant tourism job losses. The question before this council is not whether tourism matters, it's whether you will continue writing checks based on presentations engineered to be evaluated favorably rather than accurately. Flat, real, direct travel spending, lost jobs, a multi-year misrepresentation of legal form. Demand the source reports, demand the restated figures, and demand complete data in this and every future CVB presentation, or reconsider what the city's funding of the CVB is actually buying. My name is Christopher Bunner, publisher of Calaveras.watchbook.com. Thank you.
Any other public comments?
I have a public comment. I'd like,
You have 5 minutes.
you won't take them. My name is Susie Barnett and I work at the Angels Camp Museum. I absolutely love it there. I grew up here in Angels Camp, excuse me. And I agree, the best thing that could have happened was the museum merging with CDC. We have a wonderful staff. I appreciate you guys supporting the museum. I love it there. We get wonderful people there. We get a lot of great praises of how, I'm very nervous, on how everything's distributed, how everything's shown. I don't know if you guys know it, but it's one of my special things. There is a couple from Nebraska, and they came here in 22, I think, when the frog jump started back up again. She was in love with frogs. He found Calaveras County and the frog jump and booked a trip out here for her. She had no idea where they were going. They came here to the museum, and so they told me this story, and she goes, I love frogs. I've always loved frogs. And I said, that's wonderful. And he goes, we heard all about your museum. We had to come here first. We went up on top and saw all about Mark Twain and the jumping frog. She said, it's been fabulous. And I thought, wow, I hope someone gets them through the newspapers, maybe. And so we were talking, and she said, I hope we can come back. They have been back every year for the frog jump. She contacted the frog, I guess it's the Frogtown group or their council. She asked if they take volunteers. And they said, absolutely. And she said, I will be out for your frog jump. I want to be one of the frog caddies. And so she has come over here every year since, gotten a hold of them, and has been working for us. She loves it here. Everybody that comes here, they're from the Bay Area, lots from back east. Not as much as we used to before COVID. We get a lot of folks from the Bay Area. We have a group of kids that come up. There's 50 of them. They're 4th graders. And they come up from Palo Alto. And she comes up to our museum because she says, my kids only get to learn about the missions down there. So when they come up here, they camp out at Frogtown. They're all driven up by parents and volunteers. And she takes them all through the museum, but we teach them the most about panning. So she likes the pole station the best because that's all the mining and everything. And they stay up here for a whole weekend.
Oh, that's cool.
And, and the 50 kids are great. So we get a lot of great stuff. I have so many wonderful stories. If anything ever happened to this museum, I would be so upset because it's like my backyard. And people my age and older, we've been in all the mines. We have all of our stories of how we weren't supposed to be in those mines, but we were in them and everything. So I just want to thank you for supporting our museum. And you guys do not know what Martin has done for the museum. When I first was there in 15, there was a corner section back here that when you walked through the pole barn and you got there and you went, he has organized it so well. And him and the staff have, he's great for, do you have any ideas? What do you think we should do? He's a great leader. He's a great team player. And today, we had an older couple, there was 6 of them in there, and they said, we have been in many museums all over California. Not one has been displayed like this one. It was so informative. All of your stuff you have displayed is perfect. And I think it's because of Martin and our team. We have a great team.
Do I make the check out to you personally?
No, I just want you guys to know how much I love it and how much I appreciate our staff also.
Your time is on it, time is over, I'm
Okay, that's it.
She wasn't gonna talk her fun.
Okay, sorry, I have to cut you off though. Okay, well, thank you for all of that. We are moving on to item number 5, approval of the agenda as posted or amended. Do we have any changes to
No changes, Mayor.
anyone here? Okay. Roll call, Steve Hill?
Aye.
Well, we have to do
Don't we
it.
need a motion? I need a motion.
I'll make a motion.
With a
Oh, no,
second.
it's
Oh my gosh.
Second, okay. Now,
So Alvin made the motion, I believe,
Yeah.
and Shemente seconded. Okay. Beal?
Aye again.
Shemente?
aye.
Sharado? Aye. Scott? Aye. Berlio?
Aye.
And now we move on to public comment. The public may address the city council on any item of public interest not otherwise on the agenda that is within the jurisdiction of the city. No action may be taken. Matters to be addressed may be referred to city staff or placed on a subsequent meeting agenda. Speakers are limited to 5 minutes per person. If public comment is completed before 30-minute allotted time period, the city council may immediately move to the next order of business. If public comment is not completed during the allotted time period, it will be continued as the last item of business in order to provide an opportunity for the remainder of comments to be heard. So do we have any public comment in the room? Do we have any online?
Not that I see, no.
Moving on to item 7, consent items. I believe we have 2 items. Do we need to pull any items from the, anyone need to pull anything? No. Okay.
I'll make a motion to approve consent.
Second.
Beal?
Aye.
Shemente?
Aye.
Sharado? Aye. Scott? Aye. Berlio? Passes. Okay. 8A, with public hearings were introduced, waive first reading by substitution of titles, set 721 for second reading, ordinance 555, amending section 17.06.060 of the City of Angels Municipal Code, adding barbering and cosmetology to allowable home occupations with development standards. Amy.
Mayor and council members, I've given you a corrected page 1 of your staff report. I inadvertently gave you the planning commissions. They are identical, except to report that when this item was brought to the planning commission, it was approved, recommended for approval to you by a vote of 4-1. The one vote that was dissenting was related to concerns about traffic generation within a residential neighborhood. Basically, what we're bringing before you is from the request of a local resident who wanted to be able to do a salon in her home. And we currently do not allow for that in home occupations because you're not supposed to generate additional traffic when you do a home occupation. However, the state of California has now required that you allow for cottage food organizations within homes, which allow up to 8 customers a day. And you must allow that. So it seemed fitting that we should look to allow perhaps some flexibility. So we reviewed the ordinances from a bunch of different locations, basically read all of the requirements from the state, which are significant. You cannot do hair coloring, perming, things that create smells or put toxics down the drain when you do one of these within your home. And we came up with this ordinance with probably the primary thing in here is that we recommended that it be an acre or larger that you'd be allowed to do it on. Many of the planning commissioners had concerns about small lots and having an increase in traffic if you were on small lots in a concentrated space. They felt that that would be disrupting to those neighborhoods. So the idea that if it was on an acre or larger, that would be less disrupting. So we are recommending that it be 7.5 trips per day be allowed for any home occupation, not just the salons that we're recommending today. And then to clarify, I know it was confusing for many, partly because there was a typo. Item K, which talks about the cosmetology in the markup, everything be after that deals only with the cosmetology. So we're not changing all home occupations to require them to be on an acre or more. We're just saying that would be the case for those that would be doing cosmetology and barbering. And I'd be happy to answer any questions. There are a whole bunch of additional regulations that are required by the state. I can shed some light on those if you would like.
I have a couple. It's an RV, right? Like, so how does that work? I mean, there's a lot of the questions I had, and I saw RV in there, but also how does that get regulated? That they're not doing hair dye, they're not doing perms. I mean, who regulates that kind of stuff? Or the hours of operation and just.
Okay, in answer to your first question, the state of California, when you get your license, you're required to do that. They can do an inspection at any time. As you know, we are complaint driven. If we get a complaint from a neighbor, then we would enforce it. We issue a home occupation permit. We actually do issue a permit for these uses, and we put all of those conditions on there. And they basically have to sign their agreement to it when we issue them the permit. So that's A, we make them agree to it in writing. B, they can be charged with your complaint. And C, you've got the state of California looking over your shoulder.
How many 1 acre lots do we have in city limits that would be eligible for this? Because that's the only one that would be eligible for this, correct?
No, it's not. Anything that's under RE1,
Okay.
R1 and is an acre or more, RE2, RE5,
Okay.
RE3. So we've actually 50 maybe? That's just a wild guess, but 50, maybe 60.
That would be eligible?
And the 1 acre, is that only the salon? Sorry.
That's what I was,
Yes,
that was
it's
my,
only for the salon.
sorry, that's what I was
Right.
asking with the salon. How many 1 acre properties do we have?
We would have approximately 60 that could qualify.
That
Okay.
could qualify for this.
Okay, and then the letter from the resident, she was going to be actually working out of a trailer,
She
right?
asked to do that out of a trailer. The planning commission, after considerable debate, does not want to allow it to be in a trailer.
Okay.
The city does not allow RVs to be hooked up. You store them on your property. You only hook them up when you're using them to go camping. They do not want them permanently hooked up to the sewer system. And the state of California requires that you permanently hook up to a sewer system if you are going to have this as a home occupation. So therefore, the only way to get, excuse me, an RV is to get a mobile salon where you physically go to other locations. Completely separate permit that you can also get from the state.
So is she aware of that?
She is aware of
Okay.
that.
My only comment is the letter was received a year ago, and I appreciate staff finding the letter and researching it and bringing it to our attention. I appreciate that.
And I don't know if the person who wanted it is online or not, Sarah Reynolds. I did not see her name pop up. And I'd be happy to answer any other
Yeah,
questions.
any other questions before I open the public hearing? Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and open the public hearing. Do we have any public comments? Any public comments?
Can you guys hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, this is Sarah Reynolds. I actually got married recently, so my last name is Margaret. That's why it's on there. So I'm the one who actually wrote the letter, and I wanted to, I guess, bring up the RV situation, with it being permanently hooked up for my, because permanent makeup is technically under tattooing, not cosmetology and barbering. And it wouldn't have to be permanently hooked up to the sewer system of the city if that was the only reason why I couldn't have it in a RV on our property.
It's tattooed in my head.
Right, that's what it sounds like. Do we have any other public comment?
Sorry, I like blanks, I got nervous talking in public. I don't think so, because I looked up, I had the business before when I lived in Copperopolis, and I went through all of the environmental, because it's really governed, environmental management agency where they issue you the license and do the inspection and everything. And so it's for that profession, it doesn't have to have permanent sewage hookup because I'm not washing hair or doing anything like that. Everything's disposable, and I would just need a single hand washing station, which you can set up with, potable, non-potable water just for washing hands, and it's all like in its own like station inside, and you can just dispose of it later. Like it doesn't have to be all hooked up. So, I just wanted to say that.
Okay, I do believe that the public hearing is addressing the cosmetology and barbering, not tattooing, right?
I think
That is the same license.
It's the same licensing, okay. Just to clarify, thank you. Any other public, are you done? Oh, sorry, don't mean to keep cutting you off.
Yeah, no, that was it.
Okay. Any other public comments online?
I do not see any, no.
I have a comment. On this, we are, on item D, we're categorically saying no trailers, no RVs, regardless of whether they're hooked up, regardless of whether the neighbors can even see the thing. And I think we should be encouraging small businesses in a case like this where we have a mother with children at home, and this allows her to stay in the home, avoid the expensive cost of childcare, avoid having the business in the home where strangers, non-family members come in the home with the kids there. I think that we should have some kind of an opportunity for conditional use permit and make it strict, no hookups allowed. We canvass the neighbor, everyone within 300 feet, make sure there's no objections there. Whatever we need to put in place, but to just categorically say none ever, to me seems a little harsh. And I'd like to be more flexible with that to support the businesses, to support young families. And we're in a rural area, and if a trailer is not appropriate in a rural area, where would it be? Just on the roads? Just on campsites? So I think we'd like to maybe think a little bit outside the box on this one.
Any other comments? Hearing that, I'll go ahead and close the hearing. And then, let's see, we are coming back to have the second reading on the 21st.
Yep.
Great, thank you.
Unless you would like to direct staff to make
Do you want
changes
to
to, and I just wanted to add that should you make a recommendation to make the change about the RV, we would have to change other sections of the code, which do not allow for uses other than storing your RV right now. In the code, it's considered a public nuisance right now that our code enforcement officer responds to frequently. So we would also need to make those changes.
This would just be for a licensed business. This wouldn't be, for anyone who wants to park an RV on their place and use it. And also, I wanted to make that comment. I won't be here next week, our next meeting. So I just want to make my thoughts known, and y'all can do what you want with them.
So Amy, can we just use that? Can we exclude, can we keep the ordinance the way it is for RVs and allow for this particular one, or does the ordinance have to be consistent?
Yeah, you can we just address this piece of it
Right.
and then address the ordinance, changing of the ordinance or revisiting the ordinance of the RVs on properties?
So is your consensus, you would like to allow home occupations in RVs? We can't
With-
take just the one.
Right, home occupations in RVs with
A conditional use
a
permit.
conditional use permit,
Right.
yes. And it will explain what that looks like in the conditional use permit, like.
Yes,
Yes.
you can recommend that we bring this back to you
Yeah.
with that addition at the next meeting on the 21st.
Sure, unless you feel like doing them as two separate things, bringing this back and then bringing the ordinance back that we have to revisit, unless it's easier to just do it in one.
Well, I guess, is it gonna trigger, is this?
If it's gonna trigger a whole domino
Right.
effect.
Right.
I'd be
I will
less,
double check. So my thing is that you would probably have to hook it up to at least electricity. If you're gonna be doing a business in there, you're gonna be needing to, even if you're gonna be washing your hands and stuff, you're gonna be filling up your tank, your RV tank, and you're gonna have to dump it somewhere. So I can certainly put a conditional use permit requirement, which may not trigger all of our other requirements. Because if we were to get a complaint about somebody living in their RV, we could pull out their conditional use permit and say, oh no, they have that. And hopefully not get, oh, well, so-and-so's using theirs, why can't I use mine or something else?
Right. I'm with Scott on, I like promoting the small business thing, but I don't want to open up Pandora's box either on this for people living in RVs on their property and different things too.
So
that, I mean, I can see the flip side of part of it too.
Doesn't age of RVs also play a part in?
an alternative would be to allow for, require a conditional use permit
Right.
for RVs on a trial basis, see how it goes, include a sunset clause, and if it totally blows up and becomes a problem,
That's a nice idea.
That's a good idea.
That's a nice
And
idea.
if you'd like me to go ahead and make that change.
Yeah.
Did the planning commission talk about this at all?
Yes, extensively. They did not want anything to do with
And they didn't want
RVs.
anything to do with it, so I don't know if they want nothing to do with RVs.
Because
I don't know
of,
if I like that either,
because
so.
of the, no, because home occupations are supposed to be in your home or your garage.
Right,
That's
not-
what the basic.
Because you're a mobile, and I understand being a mobile unit too, so.
Yeah,
Right.
and right now, we do have difficulty with people living in their RVs.
Right.
It happens. But to require a conditional use permit before you could get your home occupation permit, it will raise the cost of doing that. We could condition them to try to address the issues. And again, we could do it with a sunset clause to see how it might work. So I can bring that back to you on the 21st.
Nice compromise.
Thank you.
I don't know if you heard me ask about like the age of them as well, because I know sometimes with wiring and.
We would have to do that on a case-by-case basis, looking at the conditional use permit. There would be no way to really, to cover all possibilities that might come up. Unless we do specific.
it would have to be a safe business,
right.
right?
Sure.
Yeah.
And again, that, we usually do inspections as part of our review. So we would be able to pick up if there was a problem.
Thank you. All right, thank you, Amy. Moving on to item 8B, it's resolution 2667, the GAN limit, fiscal year 26-27. Michelle?
Thank you, Mayor, council members. I'm bringing forward before you tonight our GAN limit for our fiscal year 26-27. At the prior meeting, we approved the budget, and every year annually, we approve a GAN limit. We're required by the Constitution of the state of California. So in our analysis, I included in the packet how we calculate the GAN limit. We received the numbers, the price factor index from the state of California, along with the county population growth and the city population growth, which was negative, so it resulted in a zero, you don't take away. But the price factor index was 4.95, so we're able to add to our GAN limit every year with that percentage. So this year, our GAN limit, our new limit is $5,013,498. So that's an increase of $227,849. And so what that does is that does not limit us in what we can collect in tax revenue, and it's only certain types of tax revenue. It limits us on what we can spend. And currently, when we look at our appropriations that are subject to that limit, and we still are underneath of that $5 million limit in our spending.
Okay.
So what we need to have tonight is to adopt the resolution that will allow us legally to go forth and let the state know that we are well within our limit of spending for the can limit this year. Any questions?
Anyone? Any public comment? Nothing online? Bringing it back for a motion?
I make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Roll call, Bill?
Aye.
Shemente?
Aye.
Sharada?
Aye.
Scott? Aye. Ferlia?
Aye.
Passes.
Thank you. Thank you, Michelle. Thank you. Moving on to 8C, ordinance number 556, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Angels repealing Chapter 2.50 of the Angels Municipal Code and repealing ordinance number 348 related to the City Museum Commission.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Been on a little bit of a journey over the past number of weeks in trying to resolve various organizations. There is the museum itself, of course, and in the museum agreement that existed previously, there was discussion about the Museum Commission that had an oversight role of the museum itself, and then the Museum Foundation and how all these things work together. And as part of that, discovered that in 2021, the council voted to repeal the Museum Commission. But in doing that vote, it was not done as an ordinance. And so the ordinance still exists. So this is mostly a housekeeping measure. You have disbanded the commission. It doesn't exist. There are no members, but it still resides in the city ordinance. So this request is just simply the permission to remove it. And then there is no more commission. And then in things like our operations agreement that you'll see later, we can remove that because there is no reporting function to a commission that does not exist.
Any questions?
Nope.
Any public comment? Any online?
Nothing online.
Bringing it back for a motion?
So moved.
I'll second.
Roll call, Bill?
Aye.
Shemente?
Aye.
Sharada?
Aye.
Scott? Aye. Ferlia?
Aye.
Passes.
Moving on to 8D, agreement number 2621, Calaveras Visitors Bureau and the City of Angels Agreement for the promotion of tourism. Michael.
Thank you again, Mayor and Council. So transient occupancy tax, we're estimating for this year will be about $1.25 million. But of that, a small portion, $164,000, is set aside for the promotion of tourism. Historically, we have been doing that through, a large part of that through the Calaveras Visitors Bureau. And what we've done in the past was sort of a fixed number. What we'd like to do in the future is a more adjustable model. And so it is, in the past where it's 88,000, we'll do one which is 65% of the prior year's receipts with a floor, if you will, of 95,000. However, should we reach another COVID situation, or maybe it's a big fire, it could be anything, we do have the ability to back out of that if we don't have those TOT dollars to spend. And so you won't end up in a spot where we are committed to providing tourism dollars without the tourism dollars to offset that. And so the request is that the council approve this agreement in which we would provide a minimum of $98,000 or 64% of the TOT revenue from the prior year.
Any questions from the council?
I just would like some, there's a lot of anecdotal justification for spending this kind of money on the museum. I'd like to just have some more solid idea of how much do we think the museum brings in per year and how much does it benefit our city versus the county, you know, and just somehow to justify a large amount of money that goes to our tourism. We're not promoting bass tournaments. We're not promoting, you know, other ideas, concerts in the park, whatever. We're not doing that. We'll put it all toward the Visitors Bureau. And I just like to justify, are we getting a bang for the buck? You gotta ask the question.
Councilmember, I think I may have been unclear because I I stumbled over this myself a few times, remembering that the museum and the Calaveras Business Bureau, although they do overlap in function at times because they also provide the operation of the museum, the TOT dollars are strictly for the Calaveras Business Bureau.
For the Angels Camp Museum.
I understand.
And the fact that they happen to be housed in the museum
No.
is a confusing
This is just for CVB.
fact, but it is not, it's
Right.
considered those dollars, and they are limited to the promotion of tourism. So certainly, I think there could be a great discussion on what else we might do. We do have the remaining funds, $70 or so $1,000 that can be used for other things. We use those for the frog bucks and other things. So I mean that.
Because in Martin's presentation, it talked about percentages, but never really talked about total dollars. And so I'm looking right now at total dollars, the 95,000, and I'm wondering how that fits into the pie chart, into the budget chart that was there.
So last year, Jessica, correct me if I'm wrong, we had 88,000 from the city. We get 350,000 from the county. We have a gift shop. Most of that money from the gift shop it all goes to the CBB, but we offset that because we give away a lot of things that are marketing tools. Shirts with our names on it, travel writers come in, etc. So the money that you're paying in TOT is that pie chart. I mean, ultimately it pays to have front of desk staff. It pays to promote and market our county. I mean, if you want a list of exactly who our vendors are and where that money goes, I mean, to NPR, I mean, in the past, we've done Sacktown Magazine, we've done magazines in the Bay Area, local getaways, we do the Yosemite Magazine.
I'm looking for better answers on not what is spent, but what is generated. What kind of economic impact?
So there was a study that was done before I first came on board, that was done in 2019, that cost like $6,500 to do, which in my view, again, they took a sample size of everybody that went to our website and asked questions, and then they did a study, and ultimately they said for every dollar that we spend, we bring $45 into the community.
Are you asking specifically for in the city limits? Or are you just saying?
I just feel like before we spend the $95,000 or establish a percentage of the TOT, that we should at least ask for some justification. You're providing that.
Okay.
But the question has to be asked, I feel like.
No. I'd like to make sure that I answer your question and make sure that you know you are getting that bang for your buck.
Okay, fair enough, thank you.
Any other questions? Any public comment?
My name is Christopher Budner, publisher of CalaverasWatchdog.com. Mayor, council members, for nearly 3 years I've appeared before this council, the mayor, the city manager, and the city attorney in writing and in oral comment raising one documented concern. The Calaveras Visitors Bureau has misrepresented its legal form to the city of Angels Camp. Let me begin with what the official right establishes, because these are matters of public documents, not opinion. First, the CVB was incorporated under California law as a nonprofit public benefit corporation on April 28, 2000, and was recognized by the IRS as a tax exempt under Section 501c6 of the Internal Revenue Code. Second, on May 20th, 2021, the California Attorney General issued its approval for the CVB to convert from a public benefit nonprofit corporation to a mutual benefit nonprofit corporation. That conversion became effective when amended articles of incorporation were filed with the Secretary of State on July 12, 2021, 5 years ago this month. Third, the CVB knows this history because it recites it every year on Schedule O of its own IRS Form 990 filings, on which Executive Director Martin Hubbard is identified as principal officer. This is the CVB's representation in its own federal tax filings. Fourth, notwithstanding that 2021 conversion, the CVB's agreements with the City of Angels Camp continue to describe the organization inaccurately as a nonprofit association, while the city paid CVB hundreds of thousands of dollars of its transient occupancy tax revenue. Fifth, from July 2021 to July 2025, for 4 years, the record indicates the CVB operated without bylaws, conforming to its mutual benefit status while displaying obsolete pre-conversion bylaws on its public-facing gocalaveras.com website. Sixth, for the city attorney's public records responses dated September 6, 2023 and September 27, 2023, the city cannot locate the signature documents for the 2019 and 2023 amendments to its own contract with the CVB. These are the documented facts. Here is what I allege based on these facts. I allege that this was not in error. An organization that accurately describes its conversion to the IRS every year while describing itself differently to the City of Angels Camp for years, even after I repeatedly raised the discrepancy, is, in my assessment, engaged in knowing misrepresentation. Mr. Hubbard signed the federal tax filings that recite the true history. He was in a position to correct the record before the city. The record shows no correction was made until this month. I further note, as a matter of record, that on March 16, 2026, I filed a criminal complaint number 26000946 with the Calaveras County Sheriff's Office concerning these matters, naming Martin Hubbard and the CVB Board of Directors President Susan Weatherby. I believe that filing is what precipitated the correction now on your agenda, an amended contract that for the first time in a quarter of a century states the CVB's legal form accurately. To this council, I say directly, for 3 years, my documented concerns were met with official silence. The public is entitled to ask and know why the City of Angels Camp did not act on credible evidence in its own possession, and whether that inaction facilitated the continuation of an inaccurate representation. Those are fair questions, and they will be asked in other forums. When this body votes today, and the mayor signs the amended July 1, 2026 contract, the city will have created additional probative evidence. I intend to submit that amendment as evidence to the CVB's long-term misrepresentation to date in sworn complaints to the California Department of Justice, the Secretary of State, the State Controller, the Franchise Tax Board, and the Fair Political Practices Commission, and to supplement the complaint I filed with the Internal Revenue Service in July 2025. My name is Christopher Bunner, publisher of Calaveras Watchdog.
Any other public comment? Anyone online? Nothing online. Okay, we'll bring it back for a motion.
I'll make a movement to agreement to 2621.
I'll second.
Roll call, Vehil.
Aye.
Schmidt.
Aye.
Sharada.
Aye.
Scott.
Aye.
Brilliant.
Aye.
Passes. Thank you. Moving on to item 7E, agreement 8E, thank you. Agreement 2622 and resolution 2668 approving a lease and operations agreement with the Calaveras Visitors Bureau for the operation of the Angels Camp Museum and authorizing the city administrator to execute the agreement. Michael.
Thank you again, Mayor and Council. So this is a kind of a reciprocal agreement with the CVB. They operate their office out of the museum, and as part of doing that, they also operate the museum on our behalf. It is a city-owned asset, and someone needs to be there. If they weren't, we would have to have some other staff that we would have to hire or the like. And in the meantime, it also serves them because for the $1 rent that they give us, they then take a portion that is really dedicated to the CVB itself. It's a very small office there in the front. But the rest of the museum, they operate. In the past, most recently last year, they received $103,700, and hearing some discussion with the council, we brought that back. Part of the $103,000 included a part-time archivist, and we have taken that away. So the proposal for this year, and it'd be a one-year agreement, would be for $57,500. And in exchange, again, not only are they putting employees there, they also provide a lot of the routine maintenance around the facility, the landscaping and watering and that kind of thing. So they relieve us of some of the costs. They pay the electricity, for example. So the proposal or the request is that the council approve this operation agreement for 1 year in the sum of $57,500. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Do we have any questions?
I do. Mike, who does maintenance on the buildings? The city, Public Works does?
I think it's a little bit of a.
I know
mix. They've done a bunch.
landscaping, but the lease says landscaping. But what about if it needs a new roof or upgrade to fire alarm system? I mean, are we managing our building and maintaining our building?
Let me take a stab, and I think Martin will correct. It is very, very murky. There are definitely things that they have done that needed to be done, and this city just isn't in a position to do it. They put in fans, for example, right? Otherwise, it just sits there and bakes, so fresh air flowing through. They have done a number of those things.
The insulation on the museum so that they didn't bake in the actual museum, our
Yeah.
employees, right?
Do you mind if I speak?
Please. Well, it's not my show, but.
So when we came out of COVID, at the time, the city wasn't going to be able to open the museum, and they were going to try and do it with volunteers on the weekends. And that didn't make sense to me because we all know volunteers, Ant comes into town, can't show up that day. It takes 4 people to run that museum on a daily basis. Just by virtue of how it's set up, you have to have at least one person in each one of those buildings. You can't invite the public in and expect them not to be jumping on carriages or walking away with something. Plus, we get inundated with people and we give private tours. When we first came in, we doubled the price. We asked for $15 per person. It used to be $7. We have a great, I want to say discount set up so that if you're first responder, if you're local, if you're a senior, for children, we ask less. You can't even buy a hamburger really for $15 and you get a 2-hour tour with this lovely lady. So, talking to Councilmember Behill, actually out of Prospect 772 one day, we were talking about running the museum as a business. So my understanding was before the last museum director that was there, the city was paying about $280,000 to run the museum per year. Coming out of COVID, looking at Jessica, how are we going to do this to run this museum? We never run a museum before. But Jessica guesstimated that we would bring in $70,000 in receipts for admissions. The foundation does the memberships. We desperately need those to work on the museum. So for example, Mayor, you're right. When it was 102 outside, that upstairs building would be 98 degrees inside and stuffy. I never believed Angel Sheet Metal when they said, you got to insulate it. I said, well, how come in the winter, when we run the heater, we're fine in here, but the air conditioning, sure enough, we spent $9,000 to insulate the ceiling, and it's made all the difference in the world. The air conditioning works perfectly. As you were referring to the building down in the pole barn, we had people passing out. Jeremy Leonard donated the first swamp cooler, and then he got us a deal, so we bought a second one for the pole barn. But you run those things all day when it's 100 degrees out, and all of a sudden you think you're in the tropical rainforest. I mean, you can't even breathe in that building. So we spent, about $4,000 and then another $2 to buy the fan. So about somewhere between $6,500 and $7,000 just on the 4 fans, which actually reduced, Susie could tell you, it's made a huge difference. And as soon as we get the money, I want to put 4 more in on the other side. We've painted the building. We've done all the signage. I mean, every piece of money that we get, we put back into the building and into the exhibits. And I would love to show you all the new exhibits. We got a great grant from Betty Weeder. She gave us $50,000, and it went to the foundation. And Tad and I were talking to Betty about what we would do with it. And ultimately, I felt really responsible to get the cataloging done. The museum, they started the cataloging 3 times in history. I mean, Noah could tell you. It was on all the old cards, and nothing was really digitized. Then the foundation did try to digitize things, and there were 1,900 items that had been done, but we kind of had to redo all those. So that $50,000 I wanted for the art. I wanted an archivist. I wanted somebody to be able to catalog everything. When we assumed all of the artifacts from the Old Timers Museum, Judith Marvin had logged every single item, photographed every single item, and valued every single item. So we know what we had. We didn't have that for the overall museum. So that's when I came to you last year and asked you, please could we continue Noah, just to get where we are. So at the moment, he went over the 1,962 objects that were in the catalog IT, and he has cataloged another 7,500 objects. So we're doing really well. We're almost there as far as everything that's out and big and displayed, but we have thousands of items. And for example, in the printing shop, you've got I mean, there are tens of thousands of letters and what have you. So I'm feeling very strong, and I know that the city administrator asked me the other day how much, what's the value? And right now, we've been able to value 5,915 objects, and that estimated value is $617,364.32. So it's a lot of money. And I think that to continue this, which again, which is why I was asking to continue the archivist, we would get a better handle on it. I feel we're in a really good position though, as far as having done all this work so far. I suppose I go back to Councilmember Behill and saying it needs to run as a business. Because when the city has to put money towards something, it's going to be fire, police, sewer, water, all the other things, and the museum's always going to come last. But the museum is really, I think, the gem of Angels Camp, and I think that we would be doing really well. The foundation really looks after exhibits and raising money for exhibits, but the mayor had an idea a long time ago to have a CCF fund that we could have people donate to help with operations and run it. We had a very long time docent, I referred to earlier, Tim Chisholm, who's brilliant. He came from Murphy's. He gave us 3 days a week, and now he's retired. But I don't have a docent that I can rely on that would be here those 3 days. So I've got to fill those positions. So we did have to let. I managed to keep on a hold of Noah, but I did have to let Staria go, who's one of our key employees who did all of the displays. I mean, she's redone everything, and she's got such an amazing eye. But ultimately, she understood. We're at a point now, too, where we've touched every part of that museum except for the swamp room, which will always be the swamp room, because I don't know how to fix that. But there are issues, Mike, with the roof. We did get some bids on the roof, and it can be anywhere from $15,000 to $30,000. I don't think that roof has been looked at. I mean, the whole building is wrong, to be honest with you. When we get heavy rains, it floods in the conference room downstairs, so we're constantly mopping and trying to clean that up. It was never really built correctly to begin with, so in a way, what are you spending money on? But I do think that we need to look at the roof, because at the very least, it just needs to be retiled, because it's been on there for 40, 45 years, I think, at least.
I think Mr. Scott put it on.
But we work on everything, and any money that we ever get in goes directly. That we also open 7 days a week. That was a big bone of contention for me. Is we have to call. Business Bureau calls places to make sure that they're there, even though they posted they're going to be there in those business hours. I wanted a place where you always know you can go from 9:30 to 4:30. The Business Bureau is there, and at 10 to 4 you can come to the museum. And locals know that, and they send people to us. But again, to answer your question, there's no rhyme or reason to it. Some days and on the days when we don't have that many people, I kick Susie and she has to work doing things. I mean, we're constantly cleaning things and helping Noah archive things, and we get donations. Before, the commission wouldn't take donations. You'd have to apply or take photographs and what have you. We have one shot. A lot of these people come up to clean out their parents' homes, and they're on their way back to the city, and they're like, "Do you want this stuff?" Yeah. Yes, we do. And just as long as you sign that says, you're giving it to us, and if we throw it out, that's absolutely fine with you. We got an amazing bear coat. We've got amazing things that we never would have had there been sort of that roadblock.
But I don't think you can equate the museum like you would a regular business, because
No.
you can't go income to expense, and what we can't measure. You said for every dollar spent we get 45.
Yeah.
Is the amount of business that the other businesses in our city benefit from the museum. It brings people to town. They go to the market. They buy gas. They eat at our restaurants. They go to the movie theater. They buy things, and there's no way to equate. So, I mean, for me, I don't see the museum as a business. I see the museum as an economic driver for us.
Thank you. If I could ask you a favor, because again, it's always been a kerfuffle with the foundation. Sorry for putting me on the spot here, but they don't want to pay for operations. They want to do exhibits. They want to do things and if we had a way of generating funds, I mean, because we are a 501c6 mutual benefit company, we cannot take charitable contributions. But if there was a QR code that said, help us with our operations, I'm telling you, we'd have $5,000 to $10,000 easily a year that would help us with.
You need to make it so easy that people can donate.
Yeah.
And also just having the QR code on the website page and like just, or ways to donate. People want to do that, or like rounding up on their tickets or whatever it is. Yeah.
I do think that it's really important, and I really thank Mike too for bringing this up, that there is more of a communication or more of a oversight from the city at the museum. I mean, you all have been so good to me, and we talk and what have you, but as I've told several of you, I mean, the reason why I don't want to sign a 5-year contract is I'm not going to be around here in 5 years. I mean, I see you doing this 1-2 more years, but I want to hand over something to somebody who we brought up or figured out how it's going to run. I just don't want to walk out the door. But I think I got a good. I promised Jessica I'd be here for 2 years. So.
Retire. I agree with everything that Mike just said 100%, and I think the museum and the visitor bureau is just as crucial as police and fire department too. It has its own place in the city, and it will all. I'm just saying. They're all integral parts. I mean, whether that's teaching the children that come there and all sorts of
children,
stuff.
that's huge. And that Albert Michelson exhibit was amazing. If you can teach one rural kid that you can go and change the world, and it's done brilliantly. What I'm asking is, I think that we just need to think outside the box and not ask for more money, but figure out ways of raising more money. Again, the mayor is talking about doing mayor's dinner as a fundraiser at the museum. These are the ways we have to start thinking about it to bring money in to finish doing the archiving, but also to roof the building, to take care of it.
We have the responsibility to care for our legacy. That's Angels Camp, and that's what you're doing. And we have to protect it, and we have to secure it. And I don't, and that costs money. So I agree.
So.
Anyway, thank you. Any other questions for the council?
No, I would just like Mike and Martin to continue talking about the maintenance for the building and how much of it should be the city's responsibility and how much of it should come out of this. I'm assuming it comes out of the $57,000 that we give that could be used for something else. I mean, I hope there's some compromise that we can reach.
So when we originally did this contract, I did it with Melissa, and we were going to sit down in 6 months and see where we were. And here it is 6 years later. We've never stopped to really look at it, but then it really made me ask those big questions, because ultimately signing another 5-year contract, I don't know that the museum's going to be able to just survive on $57,000.
Well, we don't even do a cost of living increase.
Well, no, you did in this. You normally you've given us $50,000 for the last 6 years.
Okay.
This does show, and thank you, Mike, for putting that in.
Okay.
All right. Any public comment? Please note the time.
Hey, young here. I was just sitting here thinking, what about a volunteer days at the museum to help knock out some of that stuff? And then rounding up for every time they buy a ticket. I mean, they go to Taco Bell, they're like, you want to donate? So,
Well, that's a good idea.
I like that. That's a good idea. Thank you, Nate.
Mayor, if I can add one thing. When I made this recommendation, this was based on watching the council meeting from a year or more ago, in which there seemed to be some reluctance to fund at the level they funded in prior years. So I just point out that this is a cut of something approaching 50% from what we've done in years past. And obviously, this is just a staff recommendation. And if the council wishes to do something else, you certainly could. Right? This is not a heartfelt, this is what it needs to be, is a recommendation based on what I sensed from you in the past. And if I sense something different now, then obviously you can.
Any public comment online? No, online. Bringing it back to council.
Make a motion to approve Agreement 26-22 and Resolution 26-16.
Second.
Roll call, Beedle.
Aye.
Shemente.
Aye.
Sharada.
I know what you were gonna do. Aye.
Scott.
Aye.
Burley.
I'm a nay, because I want to give them more money on this then.
I know that, but it's funny as one thing.
Could I say something?
Aye. and we can review this. I think you gotta get together with Mike. Sorry, I'm gonna give you a yay, but you gotta get together with Mike. And I remember talking about this with Eads a few years back, right? We're gray hair. But I think that has to be a key thing that factors into this of doing that too. So and we can adjust in years.
I agree 100%, especially when it comes to the maintenance of the buildings. If you're spending this money on the maintenance of the buildings, that's the wrong use of this money.
That's not the way it should go.
That's not the way it should go. I agree 100%.
Yeah, all right, great, so we'll revisit this.
That's why it's a year,
Yeah,
and we'll
that's
get it,
good.
we'll get it ironed out so that going forward.
Or he can bring it back to us too.
Oh, definitely. Well, yeah, no. And could I just say one more thing? The CDB and the museum, because the CDB operates the museum, and Mike has been to our meetings, we've always had a county and a city representative. So every month, Mike gets our financials, he gets our report, and he gets a museum report in that meeting.
Okay,
Thank you.
maybe just add that into your item report. Okay. Great, thank you. We're gonna take a 5-minute break real quick. Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay, great. All right, coming back. So we are on item number 8F, agreement number, hang on, get that. Agreement number 2623 and resolution number 2669, approving a consolidated public safety technology agreement, number 2623, with Axon Enterprise, Inc., and authorizing the city administrator to execute the finalized quote. Michael.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. This is one of those who wrestled with whether this needed to come to the council because my signature authority is up to $50,000. You have existing contracts already. You've approved this in their budget. But out of just err on the side of transparency, I wanted to bring this to you. And also it's kind of an opportunity to talk about what Chief Portinga is doing in the police department and the capacity and capability that we're gaining there. It's pretty neat. So what we're asking for today, there are currently two contracts with this company called Axon, and they do, basically it's technology driven, right? It's for the vehicles, it's license plate readers, for the body cameras that are really interesting, right? They are in standby mode most of the time. If you start it, there's kind of like a cockpit voice recorder. It's constantly recording over itself until you activate it, at which point the last 30 seconds, it keeps that and then records from then forward. And even more interestingly, it's tied through Bluetooth to the taser. So if you pull your taser, it automatically starts recording. It's really, really interesting technology. The other thing about these cameras, which is fascinating, we've had a couple of instances where we've needed to look at footage of the body camera footage. It also does a translation, and you can imagine these scenes are chaos. There's people yelling, and the camera is the microphone's not quite where you'd want it to be, and with my hearing particularly, it's a jumble of words. It can translate, frankly, error-free. It's amazing how you can read it, oh, that is exactly what they say, and so you can take this just data and turned it into really useful information, which has been great. The other thing that it does that I thought was fantastic is that it has the ability to do translation, right? So you pull someone over, you see someone in distress who speaks Tagalog, speaks Indian, speaks any one of a number of languages. This has the ability to act as a live translator for them.
You mean if it speaks back English?
I don't think it speaks back. I tell me there, Chief. It does. It
transcribes.
Says it like it turns it into tied to your phone.
Oh,
and so
I
it'll
see.
translate it and say he's saying that the city administrator should not talk so much, and then you can then repeat that back. So did I do okay, Chief? Am I?
You did good. It'll translate. I want to say there's 90 different languages that it'll translate.
Wow.
You can actually activate a button. You can speak. It's going to record what you're saying, but it will also translate to the person that you're talking to.
Okay.
You push the button again when they talk. It will listen. It will record it, and then it will translate that for you. No more of the pick up the phone, trying to get somebody from the language line, somebody gets to answer the phone, because that can be difficult at times, and especially if it's in a critical incident, you have the ability to communicate with pretty much anybody.
Do you have to tell it the language, or can it figure it out based on what it's hearing?
You know what, that's a really good question, but I believe you just tell it what language it is, or you allow them to start talking and it will pick up a language.
Pick up the language.
Okay.
It also provides a transcription of everything that's being said.
That is impressive.
So the reason this is coming to you today is he has two
de-escalates. I'm sorry.
No, I'm sorry.
I was just saying, think about how that de-escalates a situation. because you can communicate.
Well, it saves times in emergency too.
Yes, yes.
Wow. It recognizes the language, it's ridiculous.
It's really been amazing to see a couple of these body camera things where it does translate into useful, you're not spending hours, like, what was that said? It transcribes it, and yeah, you're right, that's exactly what it was, even when there's other background noise and the like. So the reason this is coming to you today, again, is that obviously 50,000 would be my limit, although you already approved this in the individual budgets, but I wanted to be sure we brought that to you. We're also wanting to lock in then for a 10-year contract, which locks in these rates, and there's still a refresh to it, but we'd like to enter into a longer-term contract. And so that would be the request, is that you allow this contract to occur. We estimate to be $61,256 starting in 2028 as these merge.
The only comment I have is I think it protects our officers and it protects the public. And I want to just thank you also. I so appreciate the presence of our police force in the city. It is amazing to me, and it probably has a lot to do with staffing and things, but just their presence is very impressive. And I appreciate that.
I told you I'm a homegrown boy, well, kind of homegrown, I guess. But it's my community, so you're going to see me out there and you're going to see them out there. I mean, that was my promise to you when I took this position.
Right. Okay. Now, if you could just plant somebody at the corner of
Oh, I like the
Vallecito and
empty
49.
squad car for the 4th of July weekend, that's good.
I did have to move it late at night because I was worried that it was going to get vandalized, but it did work.
It was working.
No, I appreciate that. That's my only comment.
Any other comments?
I can answer questions though, if you have any questions about it. This system they call it an ecosystem, but just to make it clear, these cameras, the way that they're tied together and the technology that's built into them, and it does, I know it's been kind of a bad word on Facebook, but the LPR part of it, tying all of these systems together and the technology behind it, it really does. When you bring up it keeps the officer safe, when they're working by themselves at night, this is the technology that you have. That's kind of, at times, that's all they have. So this not only protects them, but it protects us. And if you look at the liability standpoint, it's all there. Nowadays, we're almost at a point where if it's not recorded, it didn't happen. I hate to say that, but it's kind of that's the world we live in now. Now, I don't agree with that, but it's very important for us to capture everything that we can capture.
How much weight does an officer carry around with their,
Between 24 and 36 pounds.
Wow.
Any public comment online?
Nothing online.
Okay.
I make a motion to approve agreement 26-23 and resolution number 26-69.
I'll second.
Roll call, Beagle.
I just want to make sure you said the 2663, I didn't see that on the resolution.
I'm sorry, 26-23.
I didn't see on the resolution, what am I missing?
Oh.
It's agreement 2623 and resolution 2669.
69.
Okay, as long as you get that right in the minutes, aye.
Thank you.
Aye.
Sharada. Aye. Scott.
Aye.
Brolio.
You betcha.
Passes.
Moving on to item 9, informational items.
I'll be brief. The report is submitted for the council's review. A couple things I would like to highlight that we haven't talked about previously. One, the fire consolidation. Careful what you wish for, may just get it. Houseville Maloney is essentially within days of the agreement sort of quit taking calls. And so we took them a lot earlier than we were thinking. Fine. The fire chief had a plan. We had folks, we've been answering it. It's really, you can feel the excitement of the department, right? They're now much more efficient. We're running that little truck. I looked out, we were doing the coffee this morning, and there goes the little truck to a call. And it just I don't know why it bugs me so much to see the ladder truck going off to, fix a skin knee or something. Like it's great, and it feels good. We now have a bigger staff, a more robust staff, and that allows so many more opportunities. You've also seen within, I think it was about 27 minutes of the time the agreement was signed, all of the Altaville Maloney's vehicles were over here that were worth much. The fire, water tender in particular, got labeled, and it wasn't meant to be a finger in the eye or anything. We needed them to be labeled and numbered as our, for command and control as our vehicles. The water tender has been out, I think it's twice, is it, Chief?
7 times.
Well, there you go, so I'm paying attention. It was twice when I was preparing. So it goes out with some regularity, and it's great. Not only is it, and the other ones made money, the first 2 did not, but did that.
No, it has to be out for longer than 2 hours on a call, and fortunately, the fires that we've been on have been small, so we haven't been there, but we've been all over the place.
Yeah. But I like, I like having that capacity for sure, and also every time it rolls, right, it's got the Angels Camp logo on it, we're running around wherever, I think it's a really neat opportunity. So thanks to the fire chief and his staff for really good work. You can see we had to make some new accommodations. We've hired 2 female firefighters, and so that means you need to create some different permutations of housing things. So that was really good. The other one I didn't have a reason to bring to you, Utica Park. We are changing from the key lock to a remote electronic lock system, which will be great. There was this, I don't know, a couple of weeks ago in which a council member called me about trying to get into this facility and how do they get in? Well, now we have to wake someone out of bed. It's a burden upon staff, and if I do it at a time when someone isn't already directed to do it, that's a 4-hour call out. Now we can do them all automatically. You can change the combo automatically. We don't have to worry about lost keys and other people getting in. You only get in one way, and that's punching in the code that we can change all the time. So I thought that was pretty exciting. We have, I think you've heard about both Foundry Lane, the sewer line, both moving along well, and then the Moyle paving contract has been an interest of a number of the council members. As of this afternoon, I called this morning and said we were going to potentially vacate the contract and go to the next one. They provided the documents to Haley this afternoon. So I asked her if that means they're going to start on Monday, and the lady from Moyle said, I can't promise you that, but I said, well, that's what I heard. So I expect to start that soon. And with that,
Was that your admin report as well?
it is, yes.
Okay, great.
Oh, I'm sorry, did I yet? I was planning.
It's right, you rolled right
I can
in.
repeat it if you'd like.
No. Okay, city council report, Scott?
I'm going to be out of town from the 17th to the 24th, so I will be missing the next council meeting, and also I need an alternate to go to LAFCO for me on the 20th.
Who's the alternate for that?
It's the 16th, isn't it?
I've got, well, it says the 20th on the calendar here.
Alternate is Shannon for that.
If it's me, I'm gonna be out of town too. Am I, Haley, the alternate?
Yeah.
I could change some stuff if I have to. Who's the alternate, Mike?
Yeah.
No, if you're up, Shanani.
No, I'm gonna actually be out of town from the 19th, so I will miss. We're gonna go to visit my son.
Okay, sometimes we just have to, sometimes
Yeah,
we only
go.
send one person.
That's right.
Yeah, it's okay.
Well, come on, take it on, Mayor.
I'm also not gonna be in town, so. Okay, thank you, Scott. Was that it for your
That's it,
update?
yeah.
Okay, Mike?
I have CPPA coming up next Wednesday. The agenda indicates that they have, I'm sharing this because it's such good news. We have an agreement with PG&E. It's going to be a stable rate, and the rate next year, started July 1st, is 14 cents a kilowatt. So that's way cheaper than it has been in the past. So that's going to be good news for us.
That's good for a lot of
Agencies.
that use that. So, okay, any other?
That's all I have.
Okay, great. Kara?
No,
Alvin?
We had Utica, and I'm kind of trying to find that online.
Did you want my agenda?
No, we're good. I think I found part of it. We had the DSOD, John Kessler did a report for that, dam safety inspection, and we passed, basically. We had some minor issues that we have to do, but John Kessler applauded the staff there from Frank and Kyle and Sebastian and those guys and girls. And the ladies up front that are doing the reporting, they're doing a stellar job. They were some minor little things like some gopher holes they have to fill and do things. So, but for the most part, everything was good on that. We approved the Utica Water Power Strategic Plan. which Eric has put together. I think Eric's done a pretty good job of putting together a strategic plan, capital improvement plan. He's been working pretty strong at that. We also did the transfer for the TSV valve out of our emergency fund. Do you remember a total on that?
It was 470,000. It was almost just shy of 500,000.
Yeah, it was just, we have turned that into insurance, but we'll see what happens if we get any funding back on that. So, what else? There was, and grant funding. We're looking into helping with a grant funding. We may make a percentage on that, but we have to get some more information.
And Jeremiah's last day was July 1st.
Oh, yes, it was.
And we also did the GM 6-month review. I don't have any other reports, so moving on. What was that? Oh, yeah,
He's pulling out a song.
I was thinking the same thing.
I didn't know Jeremiah.
Didn't know Jeremiah?
He was a good friend of mine.
Yeah.
We'll be a wolf run.
See any correspondences?
I don't know.
Okay, great. City council calendar you have up.
July and June, or August, sorry. And then we did have the first city hall coffee this morning.
How'd that go?
Oh,
Second.
there you go.
Yeah.
It's going.
It's partially attended, but you make the effort and a lot of conversation in support of it in advance, but then, 8 o'clock on a Tuesday, how many folks
Okay.
were up and wanting?
All right, so just keep us updated if you're gonna move that or do it once a month or however way you want to move it along. Okay, and then future agenda items.
If it's something we need to do right now, or if we're gonna lose it, I'd like to just make sure, I'd like to look into establishing a park and recs first and forward. I wanna make sure that our parks, Utica Park was just built, trials looking good. We now, we're in a couple of years, we're gonna have to deal with a bunch of landscaping down the median, or down the highway. I just wanna make sure we have enough people to keep those assets moving the way they should. And whether that's hours from the meter reading,
Right.
saving or whatever, but I don't have a
We
good
don't want to
handle.
shortchange.
I don't have a good handle on that department, where we are.
So would you like me to bring a item discussing that, or?
Whatever you feel is appropriate. If you want to, update me on what it is, and that's fine, that's fine, but.
I mean, after we go a couple months, Chris should get a good feel for the hours being saved and what else is being done. Because I agree with Scott. I mean, we've invested all this money, we need to maintain it.
And we've had discussions as a staff that was kind of still in chaos with the budget and in summer, but starting, as we get later in the summer and the fall, bringing department heads in periodically. Next meeting, I think fire chief will talk about the consolidation. Bring Chris in, have an opportunity to inform the public and the council on what they're doing and get some direction on things you like or don't like, add people, et cetera. So we'll do that.
And I won't be here at the next meeting, so I'll miss out on that, with the merger of the fire department, where we're going with that. Can I meet with you to kind of get an update?
Of course.
Before I go?
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely, thanks.
Any other future agenda items?
My only thing is the space needs, or I don't know how we group that all together, but there's the city hall is still sitting there.
Yep.
I don't know if there's something down the road that we have planned or looking at, but I think we gotta do something with that, or we need to look at, we're adding buildings and rooms in here too. I think we kind of have to take a peek at that at some point.
Yes.
Start going up.
As it has not been agendized, I don't want to go too far down that conversation. Right. We have been wrestling with that and a couple of other things that we talked offline about some, I think they're clever ideas because they're mine, but some ways in which we might do some things. Yeah. We recognize we have some assets. The cost to build is really expensive, but yes, we will.
Okay. And I'll swing by. I got a list of stuff too.
Please.
Anyone else with a future agenda item? Okay, hearing none, I guess we'll.
We have one.
I just want to invite everybody here to a party. It's sort of silly thing, but you guys are doing a lot of hard work. And you've seen me doing some hard work for about 2 years. And I finally got this house approved and having a party. You guys, it'd be great to have you see it and we'd like to have you come. So can I approach you to?
Or you can just,
yeah.
either way.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mike's house is finally done.
Thank you.
And if we have nothing else, anyone
My son's your
online?
new neighbor.
Okay.
My son's your neighbor across the street up there.
I'll make a motion to
Motion
adjourn.
adjourned, okay. Do we have a
You
second?
got one?
Phil?
All right.
Jimena?
Aye.
Scott? Aye. Berlio?
Aye.
So Alvin was your first, Scott was your second.